I thought I had finally found someone who understood me. Then there was the novitiate. Despite all the time I sunk into doing the crazy things lovers often do, I never failed as a student.
Doesn't surprise me, Ethereal.
No, let's.
There's also we also unlocked some sort of affinity with Isumo,
which didn't sit well with some people.
for talking to him.
And eventually, they made sure I felt it.
With Samo, sorry,
They excluded me
Isumo.
from everything. Stared at me when I walked by.
There's just so much
Hurt,
lore.
Yes, but I convinced myself it didn't. I've always
There's
been
too
good at
much.
But
There's too
what happened?
much.
that. My lover's friends started manipulating him,
Okay.
telling him that I only saw him as my pet, that he was a failure, and that I only kept him around to feel good about myself.
I'm sort of getting this. I think the problem with the game, for me personally, and I think it might be because I haven't played the first two games, maybe. There's what, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 10 characters, and they all have lore. And there's also other characters around that, and I'm getting to the point where I'm losing track of who does what, like who's who in terms of what's happening. The third game's a prequel. Do you not get these characters in the other two games? Like, I can imagine if you'd played 3 games with these guys, that you would know them. But at this point in time, I'm like, you know, it's just too much. It's too much. Because you don't just get the lore for the 4 people you have. If you switch your characters up, you get the lore for the other lot as well. Not all of them. Okay. My lover's friends started manipulating him, telling him that I only saw him as a pet. As a failure. That's toxic.
That's toxic.
It was. And their seeds met fertile ground. You see, we novices all knew that only 4 out of 20 will be granted priesthood
Rohan
at the end
and
of our training.
Urab.
And being
Okay.
a failed novice leaves you with a mark you'll keep for the rest of your life. It all looked peaceful on the surface, but beneath that it was an arena. And these other novices, they made sure my friend became aware of that.
My friend.
To him, I started being a rival as well. And do you want to know the biggest joke of it all? I didn't see it. The idea that,
The biggest joke.
I don't know, that
You
he
have
would
to tell me
listen,
about it.
that he would ever reach a point where he'd put what we had below his hurt pride and his fears. It never crossed my mind.
So what happened?
Well, he knew I was curious by nature, so one night when we were in bed together, he suddenly asked me if I wanted to go on an adventure. Of course I said yes.
Dangerous.
So we snuck out into the cloister's courtyard. It was beautiful. The night was cloudless, and the old oak, our cloister shrine, had just begun to bloom. We made our way to the library building, but of course the door was locked. Out of nowhere, he pulled a key, grinning at me, and opened it. It was insane. As you can imagine, priests aren't known for being lenient towards these kinds of trespassings. We were risking our novitiate, and I didn't even know the reason, but I liked it. And we were doing it together, weren't we? It was exciting. He took my hand and we went to the High Priestess's office. We opened the door and went inside, and there he finally told me what we were here for, to open the grimoire, the High Priestess's spellbook.
The
Whatever that
Necromonicon.
is, it sounds like that was a terribly bad idea.
It was. It was a stupid idea. And if I hadn't been so blind, so bloody naive, I should have seen it by then. But I didn't.
What did he ask you to do?
To open it and try to read one of the spells. He teased me. Told me that I wouldn't be able to do it. You know? Saying it like that. It sounds so bloody stupid, doesn't it? But again, I was too blind. I laughed. I wanted to impress him, so I gave him a kiss. Opened the page and started saying the words.
And
Long story
then
short,
my hand
I
fell
lost
off.
Control. The spell was too much for me to handle, and it misfired. One moment I was staring
he
at the
killed him?
pages,
Or she
next
killed him?
one, the library was aflame, and my
Oh,
lover
jeez.
was gone.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. I was the one too stupid to see it coming.
How far did that fire spread?
Not far. It was put out before it could do real damage. But, of course, that was the end of novitiate. I was thrown into the Cell of Shame and sentenced to 12 years of polishing prayer banks and
Cell of
cleaning
Shame.
floors in the shrine.
I've been there. Did you try and tell him that it had all been a setup? Did he regret it? Did he regret it?
Your lover, did he regret it?
I think so.
Yeah.
The only bloody gratification I ever got from this. But even if he would have confessed and begged me to take him back, I couldn't have. All that connection, that trust, it was gone. Worse, it was tainted.
Did you try to tell the priestesses the whole story?
No, I just sat there and smiled. Of course I did. But my love had all his friends to back him up. To them, it wasn't even a trial. It was a feast.
But you never did polish those prayer banks, am I right?
No. In the night after the trial, they still let me sleep in my chamber. Thoughtlessness, I suppose, or maybe they simply didn't care. I got my things, left, and never came back. So, here it is, the whole truth. No dark secrets, no assassinations, no necromantic rituals. Just a plain old broken heart. Compared with all that shit you had to go through, it almost sounds ludicrous.
Being betrayed by someone you trust hits the hardest. Maybe running wouldn't have been the only option.
It doesn't. Being betrayed by someone you trust often hits the hardest.
Yeah, I guess. It's just, I don't get it. How could he give all that up? I mean, there was something between us, you know? Something rare, something precious.
Got being
But no.
screwed over by
He threw it
the
all away
person
for
that
his
you love.
fucking vanity. But in a way, it's just a continuation of what I've always known. Wherever I am, I'm a stranger. People don't like me, and I don't like them.
For what it's worth, I'm glad our paths crossed.
Yeah. Me too, Corporal. Me too. I'd like some space.
Reborn.
Now. I hope you don't mind.
Holy shit.
Let's talk later.
What the hell's reborn? Was it worth it? Was it worth it? Reborn. Become revived when you die. Damn. I should have talked to her before we did the level up. Okay. Oh, they're completely new? Okay, cool.
That's the way.
I like them. Frames. Thank you.
So you made it after all. Not bad.
You didn't think I would?
No. That sleep you were in. I didn't feel that there was any life left in you. But then again, you always were damn hard to kill to begin with. That new energy inside you, though, that's a different story.
So you can feel it?
That's like standing
Gore
in front
reminds
a
me of that
bonfire
guy from
and
World of
being
Warcraft.
asked if you can feel the heat. Yes, Tahar, I can.
G something.
In case you're here to ask,
Go,
we're staying.
go,
So, you'll help me fight the purity.
You make
GG.
it sound as
something.
though this thing is somehow your responsibility. It isn't. That fanatic, with his idiotic stories of the All-Father's return, is out for all of us. Especially the orcs, or the other members of the dark races. So yeah.
Gul'dan, there you
Fire
go,
wielders will
yeah.
stay.
That's good news. Thanks, Gore.
Don't mention
I
it.
did notice the background
Anything
theme,
else?
yeah. Although, to be fair, I thought it was the theme of where we were walking. You know how you've got like separate areas for like elves and orcs and things? I thought it was like that specific area, not the person. Rain.
Regarding
Rain.
this rain, you told me.
Rain.
I
Want to talk
Gul'dan.
about it. I'm not supposed to, but I don't know. I trust you, Tahar, and I've kept silent about this for far too long. Zarek's fangs, this is so silly. Feel like a damn child.
Frames. Okay, we're good. Spit it out.
Gore, just spit it out already.
Right. Where do I start? Before becoming a shaman,
Oh no.
every disciple has to go through a trial. The Iron Trial, as it's called. I told you that I did most of my training in solitude, didn't I? That wasn't true. 5 years after I entered disciplehood, another orc was accepted by my elder, a female named Rain. She was 2 years younger than me.
I love RPGs. I absolutely love RPGs, but there's a fine line. There's a fine line. The story needs to be delivered a specific way. Hold on 1 second. Pause the streaming, please. Keeps dipping. Okay, that should eliminate the frame drops. I am a specific, yeah, very rare specimen. Yeah, I think it might be a sort of a background of the kind of games I grew up on, the action style RPGs where lore and story were very easy to consume and delivered correctly. Now, the problem with this sort of thing is that it's sort of like a book. That you stand there and you have a conversation for like 20 minutes or something. And it just goes on and on and on. And I've got no way to kind of connect. It's difficult. It's difficult. I mean, I like it. It's good. It's good story. It's just, like I say, it's too much. I think it's too much. I thought last night was too much, but today is getting too much. How did you get along?
How did you
Let me
get
guess,
along?
they were lovers.
Well, at first,
That was
I
a complete dick.
to her. I was jealous and feared for my position. However, she never took offense by it. She fired back at me when I got childish, but at the same time never lowered herself to my level. As the years went by, we became friends. And no, there was no courting or mating involved.
Oh,
That's what
I
you're
was wrong.
thinking.
I was wrong.
She was more like a sister to me, and one who, unlike my true kin, understood me. Those years in the Orcish steppes, they were special. We spent days, weeks out in the wild, doing whatever our elder tasked us with. And though it was hard, there was beauty in that. We just had this connection between us, this trust.
Yeah, something did happen to her.
But something happened. Am I right?
Yeah, the trial did. The sacred
We know
test
this
every
from the
disciple
previous
has to
conversation.
take before he or she can become a shaman. Our elder sent us both at the same time, which was unusual. But of course I was relieved. There was plenty of talk about the Iron Trial, and I was scared.
How did Rain feel about it?
Same as I.
It's not Rain, though, is it?
Believe
It's
me, Tahar,
Rain.
only a fool would have entered into the trial with a smug smile on his face. We knew what was ahead of us.
So what happened?
Zarek's fangs. I can't believe I'm telling you this. I'm breaking my oath.
Don't do anything you will regret.
Don't do anything you'd regret later.
I won't. We weren't told much about the trial. Only that we'd have to venture to a cave, far up in Barga Gore. They also didn't tell us how to get there. Only that Zarek would guide us. And he did. After a week of traveling, we found it. It was a strange place, Tahar. I saw that right from the beginning. The entrance looked like a mouth, the rocks surrounding it like the bones of an old forgotten beast, and the stalagmites like hundreds of teeth. But of course, we went in. We had to.
What did you find?
A giant hall. It was as mesmerizing as it was unsettling. There were murals and carvings all over the cave walls. Old glyphs that I'd never seen before.
Shaper glyphs, maybe.
No, not Shaper. They looked as if the Guardians themselves had carved them into the rock.
Guardians?
Interesting. What else was there?
Nothing. That's what baffled me. Apart from those murals, the hall was completely empty. And for some reason, the ground in that hall was completely smooth, like polished stone. There were braziers, one in each corner of the hall, and they were burning.
From another
brightly.
game, do you think, Ethel?
Rain was as confused as I was. But nonetheless, we entered the hall. And that's when the trouble began. Because all of a sudden, the exit was gone. No magical noise, nothing. Just in that moment when we looked the wrong direction, it disappeared. And instead of it, we were looking at another wall.
Strange. What did you do?
Well, after we calmed down a little, we assessed our situation. We figured that this was the Iron Trial, and that it was our task to find another exit. So we started looking. But it was pointless. There was nothing. We couldn't even hear the wind anymore. For the next 14 days, we were trapped. We couldn't make that wall disappear, and no matter how long we studied the glyphs, how long we prayed, nothing happened. On the 5th day, our provisions had come to an end, save for half a skin of water and a handful of jerky. On the 8th day, it was all...
Sounds like a sweat test.
How did you survive?
I'm getting there. As you can imagine, the thirst was the worst. It drove us mad, and we searched every corner of that goddamn hall for just a drop of water. Not that we hadn't looked before, but as you know, hope dies last. Have you ever had thirst, Tahar? Real thirst?
I guess we could say yes. Because our father did imprison us and tie us up, but I don't know that we have.
No.
And hope it stays that way. I'd rather bleed out on a pole than experience that again. On the 11th day, Rain and I were puking our guts out. Our skin had literally started to crack, and I felt as if I was burning from within. On the 12th day, we were only an inch from death. That's when the dream came.
A dream?
Yes, a shared dream. Almost like a vision.
Rain.
We were still in that hall.
Rain. Floating
like spirits. At first I thought we had died. Then I saw what was different. The floor was full of blood, and that blood was burning. The murals and glyphs had started moving, twisting.
That's the
like
point.
shadows
It doesn't
dancing on
look
the
like
wall.
rain.
That's when I first understood what they were depicting. For some reason in the real world, I'd never been able to.
What did they depict?
It showed what was expected from us.
Shape-shifting.
What we had to do to get out. Sorry this isn't easy. I've dreamed about those weeks ever since. But telling someone, it feels bizarre.
Say nothing. Say nothing. What the hell's going on?
Zarek demanded a fight.
I'm typing in Twitch chat
Either
for
one
some
of us
reason.
died by the hands of the other, or we would die there together. The Iron Trial. We were never both meant to pass.
It's sort of like the Udogi that the Spartans do. Udogi, or something like that.
So you fought each other?
No. Trial or not, I would have rather died than done that.
Rain.
And that's
Rain.
precisely what I told Rain.
Rain.
A god that demands a man to kill his own sister is not a god that deserves worship by anyone. But Rain wouldn't have it. She claimed that if both of us died, both of our lives would be wasted for nothing. I got angry and asked her if she meant that she wanted to fight me. She said no.
I don't understand.
She wanted me to kill her.
That's
She
harsh.
told me that she was already too weak to make it down the mountain anyway. But that I could still make it. Believe me, Tahar, if there had been any strength left in me, I would have punched her just for suggesting it.
Did you ever consider sacrificing?
Did you ever consider sacrificing yourself?
No. I know it makes me sound like a coward. And maybe that was part of the reason why I didn't. But the same part of my mind still believed that there had to be another way. That all this was just some cruel joke. And the cave we had found maybe wasn't Zarek's after all.
And yet, you're here.
I am.
He's good, isn't he? Yeah.
Before she even did it. She always had to have it her way. No matter the price. It happened when I was asleep. She took my dagger from its sheath, put it into my hand, and drove it through her throat without hesitation. When I opened my eyes, her blood was already all over
Yeah,
my
and the
face.
amount of voice acting is
And
insane.
as if Zarek had been watching all along, the wall disappeared. No noise. Just like that. The wind was back, and it was raining outside.